debate within 7 minutes. Here.
Thank you, Chairperson. Don't wear a skirt, otherwise you will get harassed at night. Don't wear such sexy clothes because it disturbs your male classmates. It seems that this position is very unreasonable because it shifts all the burdens upon the shoulder of women. You are oppressing wrong actors. Instead of turning our eyes to the cause of a problem, we should oppress vulnerable actors and make them adapt and cater to social construct created by male who have authority. And that's the implied message of their approach. You are entrenching toxic and poisonous social culture, and you are lock vulnerable women up in the current status as it is because it is hard to challenge. And that's the consequence of their message. It seems like we oppose legalization of gay marriage because if we do that, conservative people will be angry about it. So hey, gay people, you should stay away from this social movement. This is a similar analogy. We believe that kind of logical approach is false and unjustifiable. Based on this, I would like to answer 2 questions in my speech. Firstly, which approach reduces the actual number of victims of harassment and other misogynies? Secondly, does their educational approach dismantle or perpetuate toxic and sexist culture? Firstly, about reduction of the number of actual victims. So their case is we shouldn't instrumentalize or victimize women. We should not guide them to take a risky option because it is dangerous. There are 4 counter rebuttals. Firstly, teaching them practical methodology of self-defense is not mutually exclusive, such as call the hotlines or going to the shelter. The problem is women are more likely to take that option under their model if taking some action is regarded as antagonistic to male culture or rebellious to male dominant society. Women are less likely to even call the police or even go to the shelter. Under our model, if it is normalized that it's fair to stand up and take action, far more women, larger number of women casually access hotline or call the police or fight a case or consult with their parents and teachers. Therefore, instruction of a practical methodology of self-defense is more likely to be successful under our paradigm in which normative standard is in favor of taking action rather than being silent. No, thank you, I will take it later. Secondly, you are victimizing women even more because men will take advantage of rhetoric that women continue to be silent anyway. Even if we harass them, even if we take action to sexually harass them, they continue to be silent or secretly or privately call the police rather than publicize the incident. This rather incentivizes male counterpart to escalate their sexually problematic behavior. That's what was happening in Hollywood. Harvey Weinstein, the chief producer, coerced a lot of young female actors to sleep with them because he knew that girls would not stand up. Instead, they would just maneuver around a sexual relationship and get higher position in drama and film. That was the actual reality, ladies and gentlemen. No, thank you. Thirdly, assumption of their approach is they pre-assume that if you stand up, you are very likely to lose. That's not the reality. In the context of current society, if you sue your boss for sexual harassment, there are reasonable chances in which you can win the case. And that is the reality. So they will rather exacerbate internalization of victimhood and a sense of being second class, and they can't win the case, therefore they should refrain from taking action. Finally, about the feasibility. That was a point of information from Masachika-kun. They said it's not feasible to assume that schools in conservative community have incentive to teach girls to stand up and fight against it. If feasibility is a problem, the same problem can happen to the other side of the house as well. Like liberal school have no incentive to teach girls to maneuver around sexism. So feasibility is not relevant to the motion. We have to assume that either case or both scenarios would happen reasonably, and that was the rebuttal. So second question about the impact on male toxic culture. Several things here. Firstly, let me reveal the hidden assumption of their case. And hidden message of maneuvering around is you gotta give up, you gotta surrender, because you can't win. Sexism is so strong and so predominant so that you can't really overcome. And that's the hidden message of their approach. And that's the interpretation a lot of girls will actually have as a result of teaching them to be silent. You can never challenge predominant social narrative because it's so strong and you are less likely to win that. What happens is the girls are less likely to talk about their experiences of sexual harassment. They are less likely to even open their mouth to testify in court trials. They are less likely to call the police. They are less likely to consult with parents and teachers about sexual harassment that happen in the community. And that's the result. What happens is the number of sexual crimes increases. The number of cases in which girls are victimized radically increases. And that's the consequence of the interpretation of the hidden message. Go.
Why voicing out and talking to others is necessary to being successful and being happier, ladies and gentlemen. Maneuvering is actually beneficial to be promoted and making their community, then they can be happy. Why this is problematic?
Let me tell you the reason why our approach is better. Because of advocacy reasons. If you secretly call the police, no one knows that. The incident stops there. But if you publicly denounce the act and try to fight against male, that has ripple effects over the social class. The example that my partner uses is Malala or Hillary Clinton. But not only public figures, but also you're a senior in your office, you're a senior in your community or club activity, and those people are fine. The housewives in the neighborhood, all those people fight against male's oppression, and so the younger generation can familiarize the act of taking action. And this is an important social message. Not only educated elite, but also everyone, every woman in your community or your senior can take part in action. And this has an advocacy effect. That is to say, it becomes normalized that you will no longer stand up against it. Only response from the other side of the house is it takes time. It takes much time. We're more than happy to take time because it is worth spending time. African American civil rights movement took a lot of time to overcome racism, but it is worth it. Role of education is not to respect the value of individual security, but also create a social foundation, social structures in which the revolution or change is more likely to happen. And that's the principle of education. We would like to hear any counter principle about the role of education from the other side of the house. We are happy to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, all participants, for your